What is going on, beautiful paint entrepreneurs? This is Aiden Smith with the Paint Your Path podcast, the number one podcast for all painting business owners, entrepreneurs, and contractors. And I'm joined by the great and powerful Joel Mercado.
What is going on, everybody? How's it going, brother?
It's going good, man. It's going good. Busy. We're closing on a home. So, that process is hopefully almost over. We're excited about that.
I don't miss those days, but yeah, that's awesome, man. Congrats.
Thank you. You've been traveling a little bit?
Yeah, I just got back from Arizona, so did a little Arizona trip. I usually go once a month at the end of the month, but it's been about 4 months since I've gone. But yeah, I just got back from Phoenix.
Beauty. Yeah. So that's that in California. You guys go back and forth a lot, right?
Yeah, a lot of it's due to family. At first was when I had my Phoenix company. I was there every month for at least a week for just ongoing training and coaching, and then visit family. But now it's just to visit the family and stay close. So
yeah. No, I do the same thing. I go back in Philly, probably more than I'd like to, but there's always an event. It's always like a reason to travel.
Yeah, 100%.
Interesting. Okay, so in this episode, guys, we want to talk a little bit about something that me and Joel have been kind of going through over the last 2 years. And, I think when you see kind of the painting industry from a high level, right, and you work with the guys in the field and see how they transform, it starts to even prove to us like what guys are capable of when they have the right guidance. And I was kind of pondering this over the last maybe week or so, and just thinking about all the crazy things that you and I have come across, whether it be coaching our guys, even guys we haven't coached, and just see, right, what they're doing, and maybe we help them in a certain way, but just seeing what the potential is in this industry, and maybe give you guys a little bit of a different perspective on what the future could look for your company. Right. And I think that we're going to touch on, the different niches right now that are super lucrative that we're seeing, maybe even our bigger clients start to go into, maybe even give you some sauce on how to navigate that, what that could look like for you, and just some of the crazy shit that we've experienced, man. And maybe you can go from there.
Yeah, I love it. In fact, I have a live one. As you guys can see, I'm rocking a client's hat. But so I was doing a callback, role play session in one of my group coaching calls. And when I was doing a callback role play session for his client, because I usually grab other people's stuff to show them live, the lady was on the fence about his company. And everyone saw it live, right? Just me on speakerphone. And I'm just okay, why didn't you move forward with that other company? And they're like, well, we really liked you. And I'm acting like his sales manager.
Yeah, right.
And she's like, but what threw me off is that you guys don't do epoxy. And I was like, oh, we do epoxy. And she's like, well, he told me you didn't. I'm like, I know. That was before I came in place. I'm the new sales manager here. So boom. I ripped off of that, immediately said I'm the new sales manager. And since I knew I was going to be out there, I scheduled an appointment for me to go out there to not only coach him on how to bid the epoxy, but close the deal for him. So what happened is that, first of all, I would never recommend the epoxy. She wanted it. I already knew that. But I wanted to build rapport over the phone as quickly as possible first. And she said another company had quoted doing epoxy for the back patio outside. And I'm not a fan of doing epoxy outside because of the fading and issues that I've ran into previous to what I've done. So I was like, there's other floor coating, especially now Sherwin-Williams offers that Forte product. I don't know if you guys have used it yet.
Yeah.
But you can literally walk on the product after it's been applied after 2 hours. That's what they state. And you can put it on metal. You can put it on all different types of substrates. So I love the fact that we're talking about this topic on today, because that is a prime example of how you can lose a deal by not just asking questions.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, if you're a painter, you can do floor coating. You can paint a roof. You can paint all these other things. Be open-minded. Don't lose a deal. And I know it kind of contradicts other coaches or other people have said, hey, niche down. But today's topic, I think you and I are in that realm of listen, sometimes when you niche down too much, you also lose all these opportunities. And why not open yourself up to these opportunities and see what that can do for you?
Yeah.
So that's my most recent.
Wow.
That's how I want to share that part. Yeah.
So you hopped on a call and you kind of went through something that he didn't have necessarily the tools or the, wherewithal to actually pivot and maybe make something happen.
Yep.
Imagine doing that a couple of times a month.
Yeah,
100 times a year,
Yeah.
what that's going to do for your end of year numbers.
Dude, I love that you say that, because that back patio is going to take us all of what, 2 hours maybe, right? And we're already doing the project. So if you're doing the full exterior, while you're doing that, you're doing the preparation for the patio,
Mhm.
right? Let that dry, do whatever, either your acid etching or whatever you want to do, whatever you have spoke about your preparation. And you're already at the job. So it's not like it's a one-off job. So think about this, $1,000 for a small patio floor. Okay. It's going to take them 2 hours to do, if that.
Yep.
And like you said, what if you missed one opportunity per week? There's 52 weeks in a year. That's $52,000. If it was just a small patio every single week that you're missing in your business, all because you're not thinking that way or feeling comfortable or wanting to educate yourself to do a little bit more outside of your niche.
Yeah, dude. And I think that might be the key word. I was actually going to go to that, is like education, right? When I do my coaching, right, honestly, I give you like real life something that's happening with me too.
Yeah.
So, obviously we understand that there are people in our space that have offers. Mm-hmm. Hey, I'll help you get X amount in X amount of time. I'll help you get X, Y, and Z. And I'm kind of like, man, how do I go after and like grab people's attention without selling out per se?
Yes.
Right? Because I'm like, dude, I know we get results. I know what we do works, just like you said, right? Little stuff like that. You don't know what you don't know. So imagine we bring you 10 more, 50 more gems that you implement into the business. And now you're like, holy shit, everything changed.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Just because you were open to it. And I'm like, man, how do I offer something without like selling out, right? And pivoting. And I don't know, like we're going through something right now where we're ready to grow. We have the infrastructure and everything, but we're really trying to dial in that offer. So kind of like going back to what you were saying of like, we don't want to, not be in our same, hey, this is what we do and we're really good at it. But how do we dial that in to make sure that it works long-term and that we can deliver something that's going to make sure, hey, we get the right people in the door with the right expectations and we capitalize on what we're good at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how do we master all of those things without selling out in a way?
So what would selling out mean to you?
Offering something that I'm not 100% sure that we can do just to get people in the door, because I think it'll attract the wrong people with the wrong mindset.
Now, are you saying that for your coaching or your business, your painting business?
My coaching. Yeah. I was referring to my coaching because like similar, I felt like they were connected a little bit.
So here's the cool part. And this is why I love your mentioning this, and especially for our audience. No different than we talk about the products and services that we offer in our painting companies. It's the same thing for our coaching program, right? Mine's built by design. I only want people that are willing to execute and do the work. And the privilege that I have is that I don't live off my coaching program. So I get to be super picky on who we are working with. And that should be the same with you, Aiden, because what happens is a lot of people will say, oh, that process didn't work. And I've heard this from other coaching programs. They go, oh, I was from this coaching program or this coaching program. Well, it's not the coaching program per se. It's the lack of execution or understanding or resonance with the coach, right? Yeah. So it's no different than certain painting companies. Certain people just vibe differently with this painting company than the other. Yep. And that's part of the connection side of things. They feel more connected with that one person. No different in the coaching programs, right? Like I know I have my tribe and there's certain people that just don't probably like me. That's okay. Yeah. I'd rather not have someone that doesn't like me in my coaching program than to force them to win. And they're like not enjoying hearing what my perspective is. So for you, I love the fact that you're like, hey man, I don't want to sell out. That's great. Because that means you're not going to water down what you believe just to apply to everybody. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's what makes you the best in what you do too, brother, because you got to understand you have your tribe. I have my tribe. Some of ours intermix, which makes sense because we are very much alike. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you're going to notice that. Right. And that's okay. And it's okay if someone wants to go with a different company because they value something different from them. That's fine too. Right. Yeah.
And I think, just to kind of go off of what I was saying for the education part of it, is like, I always come back to education, right?
Yes.
Because I think that is more important than any offer, $60K in 90 days, whatever that is, right? Yeah. Like, I'm more focused on the fact that I can provide, and you can provide the same thing. It was like, there are certain educational things that we can help that you may not be aware of. It's like reading a book. It's like picking up a book, learning a framework on whether it's mindset, psychology, sales, and we basically speed run that for you, right? So it's like, okay, sure. Maybe you have a different journey than someone else because you're already making revenue and that guarantee doesn't apply to you. But what you learned, what you implement in the business, that impact is far greater, even years down the road. And it's like you can also apply these things to other businesses, right? How many times, I mean, I know you have it too, right? Where somebody comes in and they have like maybe a general contracting business as well, or something else on the side, or maybe that's someone else they're partnered with. And what they learn with you, they're like, oh shit, I'm going to take that and use it in my other business.
Yes.
It's all home service. It's all construction business.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm very in the, I always think about like, what was my journey, right? Yeah, I went to college not for this, like, but how many people don't have a formal education that need that in a sense? And they're not, you know, maybe in their head, they're thinking, well, I need to make income. I need to be profitable. But what if you became the better force behind your company, the more skilled person leading the company? And how is that going to help everything? So kind of like when you were coaching, you're equipped to do that, right? Now you're teaching the tools so he can say, damn, I'm going to do that every time now. And I can teach my leaders that. And now it's just a snowball effect. Imagine doing that with 50 other tactics, what that can do for you.
Well, the huge win is that you and I are actually active in the painting industry, right? So it's like, we're not just talking about theories, right? So the biggest thing is a lot of guys don't realize that, like, you're just not hiring. When it comes to a coach like us, you're not just hiring someone that has theoretics and it's the same thing. Actually, it's an interesting topic, by the way. We're going to have a guest soon that said this on a podcast. So I think our audience is going to love what he's going to say. He said, I've picked up the shovel, I've owned the shovel, and I've sold the shovel. Does that make sense? So like, when you're talking about education, it's not like you just read a book and said, I'm going to apply what I read. No, you're like, I'm applying what have been an application that I've been doing for years that I know works, which cuts down time, right? So that's the nice part about your education program, because you're educating them and you're skipping 4 years of a college degree or whatever, because that's what you're coaching, is the education behind it. So it opens up their mindset. So now they can go execute with confidence, knowing they have a coach like you by their side, right? Because they're like, well, Aiden's been through this. So he said XYZ will work. Perfect. I'm just going to go do it, right? But when you read like a book or get educated by school, this is the interesting fact. Like, it's like going to school for business, right? You went to school to learn business and learn accounting, yet the professor learned it from a book and never applied it ever in their lives. There's a different side of education.
Facts.
So like, you're not the professor who learned the book. You're the professor that wrote the book because of actual application. Does that make sense? So that's why when you say doing an offer of education, that's super important, because you're sticking to what you know works versus appeasing to what people want, right? So I love the fact that you brought that up. I just want to bring clarity on that.
So no, I love that. And it's just, it's crazy to even think about, right? That you spend that much money on someone who probably hasn't done it. Anyway,
happens more often than not.
Anyway, I don't want to get into that fight because I've done both. So, but yeah, but here's the thing, right? So I also was taught by a coach who's done it in my space, in our space, and he had 2 calls a week. One was an offer call, and one was like sales and marketing. I don't know. Did I explain this before?
No, this is the first time I'm hearing this.
So I got coached by a business coach guy who, like, hey, you know, take what you know, turn it into an offer, all that kind of stuff, right? And coach on it. And that's kind of how I got into the whole coaching thing. And when I first joined, he had a Tuesday offer call. And he goes, hey, Aiden, tell me about your offer. And I said, well, you know, I have a painting business and I've done okay. But the biggest thing is I got off the tools, right? And like, I feel like a lot of guys, when I'm looking around, they haven't been able to do that. And I'm really good with software. I'm really good with all this stuff. So I was kind of telling him all this stuff. And he's like, here's your offer. Boom, boom, boom. Kind of what we were talking about, of like, make your first 10K in the first like 2 months of working with, something like that, right? And he was like, because once you get your offer, he said, people are going to realize that you bring something to the table because you're confident. And then when you get them in, they're going to realize, oh, it's much bigger than that.
Yeah.
So you have to be cognizant. This is way early on, but you have to be cognizant that that marketing piece also is like a necessity. Like a hook. You got to capture audience attention. And this is like a little bit of marketing lesson for anybody listening with their painting business and how they can better curate their offer, right?
I like where you're going, because I can hop on this too with
the
painting industry. Yeah, yeah.
And you know, I don't want to get into, at least right now, with the whole generalist thing of like, you know, the idea is like, I don't know if you saw, but recently I put out a video, maybe 2 videos of like, I state that I made 100K in working less than 20 hours.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. I did see that one. Yep,
I
yep.
did that intentionally. Not that I want to be like, oh, look at me. It's more of like, hey, the value behind what I'm going to give you in this video is rooted in something I've done. And it's a way to capture your attention. So you're like, hey, if that was me and I wanted to do that, I want to hear what he's saying. So
Yes.
how do we do that with our marketing and capture our audience or homeowners, right? That we want to speak directly to. I'm not speaking to the guy that's on the brush. I'm
Correct.
speaking to the guy that's like maybe making the transition off and is like, hey, I've proved a little bit, but I want to get my time back and make more money. He's done it. I'm going to listen.
I love that. Well, it's the fact that you're talking about that when you translate that in the painting world, right? What if you had something like this, like, hey, are you guys tired of hiring multiple contractors just to get one job done? Well, listen up. My name is Joel with X company. We do fascia replacements, cabinetry, yada, 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 yada. And you start building all the services. And that's what happened, like with the topic that you've been talking about today, is what happened to me is that I just started hiring people that can do everything, right? Like, because that's all every objection we had was, well, I don't want to hire 2 more guys. And the last company said they can do fascia replacement. You're saying you can't. So we evolved that way and we were able to get more deals done because it's like, okay, well, if you hire the right people that can do it, why not? And it's no different if you go back to what you did with Smith and Co. What did you do? Wainscoting, right? And you started offering that as a service and you started doing more of that, right? I don't know if you've changed that or not.
But no. Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But isn't that a sell, right? Like they're like, oh, wow, you guys do that?
100%. Gets you in the door with different people as well, right?
Yeah.
Because
how much are you charging roughly on that? Like what's like an average ticket usually for that?
Yeah, like it's like $100 an hour.
Okay.
So plus material.
Usually how many hours do you think?
You're looking at like any custom wall running like $2,000.
$2,000. Look at that, dude. $2,000. Imagine if you did that once a week. How much that adds up? That's over 100K a year, right? So that's where, you know, I think a lot of people just start to think too small and they get too worried about things. It's no different than I started right before I exited. I started offering roof coatings.
Yep.
And we were painting roof tiles, clay tiles, $6,000, $10,000, $12,000 for us to do it in like no time, dude. It was crazy.
You know what, too? How many homeowners don't know you offer something when you're like, dang, if they would have known, I could have sold that.
That's
like,
actually part of our office script. Our office script says, is this the only thing you need? We also do X, Y, Z. And I've seen other people's office scripts not even offer, like when you have an interior. I can't tell you how many times, Aiden, when we first started doing it, they're like, oh, you guys do cabinets? Yes. So I changed my script because I was like, oh my God, like we're not telling them we also do cabinets. So on the call, we actually add that too. Like, hey, I noticed you want to do an interior. Are you also interested in cabinets? Boom. Had no idea you guys do that. So you're absolutely right. It's wild.
Upsell in your pre-qual. That, you know, that's something that we do as well, is like, hey, are you doing interior, exterior cabinets, something custom? Like we'll go into it in deep and bring them options. So like you said, they can say, oh snap. Like, dude, people don't even realize we do drywall repairs. They're just like, oh, I thought I had to have somebody do it. So he already came in and textured everything for you. And I'm like, that knocked off my average job size now. Oh man.
I love how your brain thinks. You're like,
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think what we're really getting into is like, if you can dial in that offer and do it in a way where you obviously can support it at a high level, that's super important. But once you understand that right now we're in a landscape of capturing eyeballs.
Yes.
Right. And who can do that at the highest level wins right now.
Facts.
And we have to get more and more creative with not only our content, but like what we're offering, right? And you can go 2 routes really, right? Because right now we're talking about like, hey, get the easy wins while you're there. The floor coating with bar, whether it's wood rot replacement or, you know, panels and custom walls. But you can also make your offer super niche and direct. The number 1 home custom epoxy floor coating company in the area. That's going to get a lot more looks than, hey, we do X, Y, Z, yada, yada, yada.
Facts.
Or a little bit more premium clients. So
I mean, it's all types of ideas.
Yeah. So what are some of the niches right now that you see are very worth it, right? Because that's important. It's not just that it's available, that you've seen success with your clients, and that people should consider getting into. Because a lot of people, like even in my free school, they'll join and say, yeah, I just started my painting business. And I'm like, oh, well, what do you offer? We do interior and exterior. I'm like, all right, there's a lot of those, right?
Right.
So what have you seen with your clients that's working right now?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, Phoenician plaster is becoming a big thing all of a sudden, where I was not a fan of it. And that actually started shooting me in the foot, because towards the end of me leaving my last company, I got a lot of Phoenician plaster requests. And I was like, yeah, we don't do that. And then lime washing, all that stuff, I was just kind of like, yeah.
Mhm.
So we ended up doing lime washing, right? So we ended up doing that. But those are the two main things I've been seeing a lot lately. Epoxy's popping up a lot for painting companies now.
Yeah.
And I don't want you guys to sleep on this. Depending on where you're at, roof coating is super popular, and there's not enough people doing it. So if you could be that painting company that has, hey, we provide these services, and you leave something with them. And by the way, I know you didn't ask about a roof, but since we're here, if you want to protect your roof and you've been here, you want to live here, as you're qualifying your clients and you're saying, hey, you said you want this to be your forever home. Well, what's the average cost for a roof? Oh, last I heard is 20 some $1,000s. Well, for a fraction of the cost, I can protect it by spraying this coating on it. You would do that? Yeah, we could do that for $6,000. What happens now? Your average job cost gets driven up like crazy. You need less sales, less jobs, and your average job size is far higher, because we're able to do the epoxy, able to do the roof coating. And to be honest with you, dude, I've almost been half tempted to open up a roof coating company here in San Diego, because my rep called me. He's like, dude, you cannot imagine how many people call me in San Diego. He's like, I'm surprised no one's capitalizing on this. So think about that, dude.
And that's the key part. The offer of, hey, the average job size for a roof is going to run you 20, 30K.
Yes.
We'll get it done for half, a quarter, a third of the price, and you're still protected in a 10-year warranty. That's going to sell like hotcakes.
100%.
Just because it's positioned properly. Damn.
And you're already there. So guess what? You pressure wash top to bottom, right? Start with the roof, get that going, get your boys up there, boom. And you just have this machine going for you. It's like a no-brainer, right?
Yeah. Well, what's the same thing with cabinet painting?
Yeah.
Don't replace your kitchen.
Yep.
Get them painted. That's it.
Especially if you use AI now too, and just put their photos in, show before and after right on the spot. You can convince them not to replace it,
That's how we do our stucco right now for exteriors.
Yeah.
We say hey,
AI for it?
Well, we're doing AI on everything, but like the explanation of the offer. Like, hey, honestly, ready for this? Me talking to you, Joel. Ready?
Yeah.
Hey, Joel, I'm gonna be honest. I'm looking at the house and all the cracks that you're about 2 years away from needing this entirely replaced and not being able to salvage it. Right now, we can salvage it. All right, we use a stucco patch and we use the best caulking on the market to be able to restore this thing, prime the entire thing, 2 coats of durable, best paint you can buy. It's gonna last for another 10 to 12 years, easy. I'd rather you go this route than spend $30K on an entire stucco replacement for your house. Let's get you on the schedule today. Priority, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? That's the offer. I'm no longer competing with the guy that came in and said he'll do it for $5,000 or $3,000, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm competing with the guy who's going to quote you 20 to 25K to redo all the stucco. It's just positioned differently.
I love that. You're absolutely right. Because you made me think this over here than the cheaper route, right? Because that's where people's automatic thought goes to. But the way you positioned it, you better write that down.
I'll give you another one. My uncle, shout out to him. He was like the carpenter in our family.
Yeah.
Super quality, awesome, right? And he had because in Philly it would snow in the winter. He had a plowing business. And his sale wasn't, hey, we're the cheapest plowing company. We're going to come in for X amount of dollars. He said, no, we're going to protect you from the lawsuit that's going to end your business.
Yeah, dude.
Right?
Yeah.
So he would literally bring the presentation, right? And he would hire family members of mine to go and sell these banks and all this stuff and say, hey, look, the average lawsuit is X amount. For our seasonal, yearly, whatever membership, it's this much. Look at that return on it. Like, he just went through the entire thing of like, you could literally save your business for $3,000 a year.
Yeah. Oh man, that's dope. I love that.
Legendary.
Protect your business. That at the end of the day, that's listening really well. That's a good way of positioning for sure.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I want to go into this, right? Because I think when you start thinking about business differently and you start to understand it, right? Like in the beginning of the pod, you said, hey, I went through something that maybe this guy wasn't going to take advantage of as far as like a framework to kind of go through and make sure we save this client. Imagine you apply all the stuff we're talking to all the services you have in your business. What that would do for your business. I mean, you can even take what we're saying and run it right now and you'll be good, right?
Yeah,
like, let's be real. What we don't want is you to go ahead and say, oh, I'm doing $500K with my painting business. Let me offer this whole other service that requires like an entire build out of epoxy machines and all this stuff. We do not want that.
No.
What we want you to do is get you dialed in on what you're doing, curate your offer just a little bit, and then the easy things that you're already there for that are just small pivots that you can capitalize on, that's what you need to jump on.
Yeah. What happens is now you're able to just, again, that average job size is going to go up, right? And that's the path of least resistance is how I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
What about seal coatings? Driveway.
What's that?
Driveway seal coatings?
Yeah. So I've done a few driveways. That one, like I stayed away from parking lines, like, like the lines. Cause
Me too.
Sprayers. And I the only time I had those type of jobs were like really big commercial jobs that I was kind of like, I don't want to mess with that.
Yeah.
And that really was only purely, I don't think we would have an issue figuring that out, especially like sealing out driveways. It was just more of like, am I chasing the money now at this point?
Yeah.
And if I'm chasing the money, is it worth it? So
it's a little bit lower ticket.
Yeah. And like for me too, it's like if it's a commercial job, it's net 30, net 60, net 90. I'm putting my business at risk. I'm a really big residential guy. And I know there's a lot of great guys that do phenomenal in commercial. I don't know much about that. I'm a big residential guy. So like I just do what I know best, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't get too much in the sealing in that. I did use products like Sealcrete for driveways,
sure,
repainting, stuff like that, but not like a tar or any kind of sealant like that.
Copy.
So yeah.
I got something else for you too. So recently we did a bid, 60 units HOA, they were up, they were ready, due. And I used to work for CertaPro and I was on the commercial side. And I was thinking to myself, I'm sure they got a bid from CertaPro.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I said that is because when commercial projects happen, CertaPro knows how to get in with those people, whether it's certain lists, certain sites, referrals, or maybe they just have a connection, right? But more than that, they have a brand around it because it's such certainty.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
CertaPro certainty. It's literally in the name.
Yeah.
But when you have a large project, what do you need? You need closure, certainty. You need somebody that's going to come in, has done it, has the portfolio. Facts. And I remember thinking to myself, man, how many other opportunities are they getting where our standard call is from Google, hey, I need my house painted, that they're getting calls, I need 50 units painted.
Like that, at a
just
shop.
Like that.
Yeah. That's very true. And I follow a guy on Instagram. His name is Adrian. He's in Florida. He only does commercial painting.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he does very well. I have yet to connect with him outside of social media, but he said next time in Florida to hit him up. And I'd be curious to hear like what his play is. We've talked little by little, and he just says, yeah, man, once you're in, you're in. Like,
yeah.
The dude, I think he said he's doing like, gosh, I don't know, something ridiculous, like millions of dollars.
Yeah. He does like industrial, right?
Industrial, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember because like it just like goes back to the offer thing of when you start to really dial in, like not only your message, right? Yeah. Because when we think like residential, we're thinking, what's your message on your Facebook ad, right? A lot of times, because that's what captures the attention. But when you're talking about like actual brand building, like a Peach, that probably people in Tampa already know, hey, if there's a big project, we're going to call the most established, proven company. How do we create that? as people that, for me, I'm a little smaller, right? Like in my area. And I'm just looking at like what the future looks like. And I just feel like there's a gaping hole right now that only a few companies, CertaPro, maybe there's another. I haven't done the research. I don't know, I'm gonna be honest, because I just I'm so worried about what we're doing. But I'm like, how do I position myself as the guy who gets those calls to set up my team for success and to be able to say, I'm creating such a certainty with my website, my positioning, my messaging, my community feel, how I get looked at online. How do I set all that up long term?
That's a great question. I think a lot of that obviously now turns into the type of content you're putting out, your website, right? The story that you're telling. And then the fastest way to get there is looking up public works. Any kind of public works, put your name onto these websites because these guys will start calling you. I don't know if you do much public work. It's called prevailing wages. So you got to be careful.
I know that is, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So those are like schools. That's kind of how I got into the commercial game. I started off with schools first. We started with like a gymnasium. Then we started painting schools. Then outside of painting schools, that turned into a referral into out here in San Diego. They have different like metro buses and stuff like that. So then it turned into that. And then we ended up doing like a special coding that I've never done in my life. I'm like looking at data sheets and I'm like,
oh yeah, those are the funnest jobs.
Yeah. I was like, yes, let's do it. I want this job so I can say we did it. And dude, it's just one after another after another. And I think if you start with the image, you start getting that content going in and you start getting your foot in the door, then it'll start opening up for you. So that's one way of doing it for sure.
You know what? Epoxy floor coatings, cabinet painting, commercial jobs, roof coatings all have in common?
They're big.
You can estimate them properly on Drip Jobs.
That's right, baby.
Very true.
I love that.
We've set up estimating for epoxy. Ooh. We've done it for commercial jobs. I mean, you name it. I've done it for a drywall company.
Dude, I would love to see what the epoxy numbers look like, and I would love to see a layout. You know what? And I'm challenging right now for our audience. Is there any way you can do how would I call it? Like an attachment or just a breakdown of how you do it, or what's the best way of saying it? Even like a Loom video explaining something like that. Not like, I know you sell this as part of your program, but it would just be kind of cool to see like maybe even someone actually doing it and how they do it.
I will say this. We do have new videos coming out on Drip Job. So right now we are in their Drip Jobs Academy. And what that is, Tanner, his team, they basically understand that there's a lot that they help painting business owners with and home service companies with. And they were like, why don't we create a training section where we say, hey, appointment setting, estimating, sales, all these things that you go through in your home service business, they actually help you with real business owners, myself, other coaches, other people in the trade, so they can give that much more value. So one of the things I'm bringing to the table is the estimate. I think you're in there as well, right?
I'm going to be. I'm going to be dropping job costing in there. So I'll be breaking down job costing, what to look for, how to schedule properly, how to run production through Drip Jobs. So that's my take that I'm helping out. So that will be going live soon too. So I'm excited that you're doing you're going to probably do production rates on there. Huh?
Yeah, we're going to do estimating and production rates. And we already have videos in there right now, but we're going to redo them just because you just want to keep everything fresh, new, up to date. Yeah. So exactly what you're saying. Hey, and could you give a rundown? I'm going I think I did 4 videos before. I think I'm giving a lot more in depth. Yeah, the slides are built out. I just really need to, with everything going on, just hop on in front of the camera and start cooking up. But we're excited about that. And if you guys are interested, right, because you can build all this stuff off in Drip Jobs and learn this stuff within Drip Jobs, it's going to be PATH30, our coupon code, our promo code. It is PATH30, and you get 30% off your first free 3 months for new users. So guys, hop on that if you own a painting company, home service, dripjobs.com, all in one CRM.
Love it, dude. That's super sick.
It's crazy, man. Once you understand it, like the fundamentals of how to build it, man, you could just build it out to whatever you want it to be, Yeah. We have custom templates.
You do.
Yeah, interior, exterior. I got people that have new construction templates, commercial templates, epoxy floor templates, actually. So
dude, that's beautiful. And what a lot of people don't know too, because I coach a lot of clients, right? That they like you might because of your production. Every time someone says production rates, I'm like, go see Aiden. Like I don't even want to like. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
Go see Aiden. Like,
Mhm.
do I understand it? Yes. Do I want to build it? No. Go see Aiden. And I love it because it's made it easier for me to help onboard sales reps, right? Like
Yep.
people don't realize how important this is. Like every time someone brings a new sales rep and I'm coaching them, I'm like, oh, thank God they went through Aiden's program for production rates.
Yep.
Because now I don't need to like teach them how to estimate. I'm teaching them on what to say during the estimate. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
So that's been a lot. Thank you, by the way. It's been a lot funner for me because I've been like the coach that's like, okay, this is what you got to do when you're at the estimate, and
Yep.
this is how you measure. And I'm like, I don't like that stuff. I like the coaching of the other stuff. So it's been
Love
perfect.
it. Yeah, man, it's been good. I want to run through before we have a couple of minutes left.
Yeah.
I want to run through some of the crazy shit that we've seen with our clients over the last 2 years, right? Because we're talking about different offers and different niches in the business. And a lot of these guys have capitalized on that, right?
Yeah.
I know a handful of your clients, they do painting, another service, but it's because not only they're equipped to run it all as a leader now because they went through your training, but it's also like, hey, we've built the ability to produce it as well efficiently, which
100%.
matters. So maybe you can rattle off one or two that pop off the page for you.
I mean, Brandon's like the first dude. Like, so I've helped other contractors, not in our space. I've helped other contractors do over 8 figures. I've not helped a painting company yet do over 8 figures in terms of my own clients because they just haven't been there yet. So like Brandon just finished like over $500,000 in sales last month. And here's the craziest part. He's been in business 2 years.
Insane.
Like, you hear that? Like $500,000 in 1 month, and he's only been in business for like 2 years. It's wild. The branding's on point. And what makes Brandon successful and what I'm seeing here is, right, he's very systematic and he empowers his people. He does not get in the way. He lets his people do what they do best so he can keep focusing on the brand, keep focusing on what I call C-suite level decision making, which is all CEO level stuff. He is now able to learn the CEO level. So the reason why I bring him up too is because he built an awesome office for his cabinet system to the point that he opened up a second location and says, hey, I don't have a location over here. Asks me questions like, Joel, should I open an office out there? I'm like, no, dude, we have nothing. We don't know data out there. We don't know what the market's going to dictate. It's too early. It's only a year. Like, you're not there physically. Like,
Right.
let's do that in baby steps and just keep focusing on your mothership. So then he created a system to bring cabinets from one area to his headquarters to get it done, mass produce it to bring it back there.
Wow.
Right. So it's like those things that separate people and really get them to where they need to be. And, you know, it was a big flex for him when he messaged us when he got married a few weeks ago.
Mhm.
And he's like, I've been gone for 2 weeks and my team didn't bother me once.
Insane.
That's huge, dude. But like, he's also not stopping anything that he can do. He's going to do it. Like, he's like, floor coating, bet. Let's do an epoxy division. Let's go do this. Let's do cabinets. Let's do this. And then he's just organizing and he executes immediately. So that's why he's able to win so fast. So I just wanted to highlight him because it's super big on how fast he's moving, and he's not stressed and having chaos because he's very systematic.
Yeah.
So,
and I love giving flowers to guys like this because it's like, yeah, we talk about a lot of things on the podcast, but we can't show it, right? It's not like we're out here. Like, we do a good job at it, honestly. But like, you know, to give somebody who's a real person, who's no better than anybody that's probably listening right now, that just took action, followed your guidance, had his own probably other things they did invested in.
Of course.
But at the end of the day, it's somebody who changed his life in this industry, painted his path.
100%, dude. 100%. I love that.
I mean, seriously though. And then, you know, you get to look around and say, hey, like, you know, the next discovery call you go on with a potential client, it's like, why not you? You know?
Yeah. Well, dude, I love when people are breaking records in the industry, because when you can break those limits, then it opens the door to break other people's limitations as well.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I like having clients like that. So I can be like, guys, like, I mean, he's barely working. He's having fun. He just got married, just moved in his house with his wife. He's in his mid-20s. what the hell would I have done if I was in my mid-20s seeing that much success that quick?
And this is somebody that like you worked with and then he became a coach?
Yeah. So, the reason why anyone that's coaching in my program, they have to show me results based off our process.
That's it.
And they have to have the same mindset or even better than me.
Mm-hmm.
And I chose like Pettis and Brendan on
Pettis, another one.
Yeah, dude. Like the kid was barely not doing much that year before. In his first year, he did like 1.5 or whatever. He's probably on track to do 3 million this year. And then next year, I'm sure he'll hit 5. And the year after that, he'll keep going and going.
Yeah.
And he's a very systematic person, right? But he doesn't allow excuses to get in the way. And when I meet with these guys, they're very even keel, which is what I talk about introspection. Leaders that are listening right now, if you cannot regulate your mood, I promise you, you're going to bury your business because your mood gets in the way and it derails your teams, it derails your customers and every process you have. You cannot scale your business if you can't regulate your mood. Don't care how good your system is.
True.
That's the commonality of those two guys is that they, like, when you watch them, they're just cool as a cucumber. I'm like, bro, how things going? I'm good. Like, I remember when I was in your shoes, dude. Like, there was a lot going on. Yeah, we're good. Okay.
Yep.
That's the game changer, man.
Dude, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
So true, man. I even struggle with that to this day of like the regulating the mood, right? And for me, I don't know. Sometimes like we have like a creative aspect to us as well. Yeah, so I think some of it is like it kind of helps me in certain ways, not being so even keel. You know what I mean? But definitely when I try to reel it in, like I can for sure, but just a little bit harder for me a little bit. One of the ones that jump off the page for me is same with you, right? When guys come through our program, we've been blessed to be able to handpick those guys and say, hey, is this something you'd be interested in helping us with? And like, they're more than on board, right? David Rule is like freaking, he was a guy. Cause like, I never had an $8 million painting business. Like that's insane. Right. So like, it's just it's so good to see that what we preach and, I've done okay for myself up to this point, right? But like having to see all your systems, your theories, frameworks, all these things that you teach people and to see it scale to that level.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's rewarding, right? It's like that, like you kind of just, tap yourself on the back or whatever. And, it's kind of like the whole drip jobs thing. Whereas like, he used to get pushed back like, oh, over 3 million, you can't run a business through drip jobs. And he's consistently seeing guys do 5. Dave's using drip jobs, 8 million. So like when you see it kind of go through with flying colors, you're just like, damn, thank you. Like, it's just awesome to see, I
love that, dude. It says a lot too, because the system's the system.
That's it, man.
Well, I got a different part on consistency on the system.
I got one more, and we're gonna have Josh. Josh Edwards. Yeah. We're gonna have Josh on the podcast one day, 100%. He's already been on, but with me and you. And this guy literally came on the tools, $30K a month roughly, and now selling every day. Really, he doesn't have to, but like he's like trying to just make sure everything is smooth.
Yeah.
Hired his mom as his admin, brother as his project manager. All his guys from day one still working, growing team. And his dad's about to be a sales rep, project manager, sales rep.
Yeah. So he's building a legacy with the family too, man. That's awesome.
Doing 200K a month, 20K average job size, like insane numbers.
Well, I hope Josh sees this. Go
he will.
Bars, my man.
Yes. Yeah, he will. All right, bro. You got a quote for us?
I do. Because we always stick to the path. It says, most people wait for the perfect path. The ones who pick a direction and paint it with action.
Boom. Joe Mercado. Till the next one, guys.
Yeah. Peace.